Well, happy, beautiful evening. I'm Dr. Bob Rakowski, Blue Diamond consultant with Organo out of Houston, Texas. And I have the absolute joy of sharing with you tonight what I believe is probably the easiest way to create health. And by the way, I've been in that field teaching doctors for over a quarter of a century all over the world about health. I believe we have the easiest way to create health. And by the way, I'm also an entrepreneur with 5 other businesses, and I guarantee you, of all the business models that I've seen, this is the easiest way, once you get it going, to create wealth. So I'm more than thrilled to share this with you. The company Organo is now 10 years old. Believe it or not, in that 10 years, they've crossed over $2 billion in sales. We're global. We're in over 30 countries all over the world and expanding. And we have a product line with an incredible competitive advantage that people can use every single day. So here's a relatively simple question. And by the way, I've been in the company 6 years as a consumer, 5 years as a business builder. But literally, I was asked this question: would I be open to trying a healthier cup of gourmet coffee? Well, I have to tell you, of course, if it's healthier, I'm open to it, but I'm also very diligent. And I wanted to do my research and figure out, okay, what makes this healthier? And I've got to tell you, I was absolutely shocked. I lecture for one of the world's top nutrition companies, have for over a quarter of a century. And the company I lecture for has led the world in quality certifications. So I knew about quality in terms of nutrition. Well, the company Organo is USDA certified organic. They're actually what's called EcoCert. They take great care of the environment and everybody in the supply chain. Kosher halal, which if you know anything about food codes, are tremendously strict codes to make sure that healthy things are put into people's bodies. The companies are produced in what's called a GMP, which stands for Good Manufacturing Practices facility, basically produced in a clean room environment. So if you Google me, you can find out that I treat world champion athletes from every major sport, Olympians, people that are tested and must put only the best stuff in their body. And I had to dot the I's, cross the T's to make sure that this was really, really good. And by the way, it is. So I share it with these high-level athletes. They started out with coffee. They switched and added tea to the product line. They ultimately added things like soap and toothpaste, which are all best in class, an energy drink, shakes that literally taste as good as you could imagine a shake tasting. In fact, people are nourishing their body and getting healthier and losing weight, consuming something that they say tastes like liquid dessert. So what is the secret ingredient or the magic formula in our products? It's this amazing herb called Ganoderma lucidum. So if you were to actually pull up really good quality information, and what I look for as quality information is something called PubMed, the National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Health database with articles that are written under rigorous scientific standards, you'll find out that there's over 3,000 medical studies promoting the power of this incredible herb. Some of you may not really care about what the studies show. You may actually care what it does for your body. And here's what I'll tell you. I have given everybody that I've shared Organo products with over the last 6 years a 100% money-back guarantee. I tell them, you know what, you try it. You drink it for 30 days, consume it for 30 days. And if you don't feel better, if you're not 100% satisfied with how it tastes and how it makes you feel, you just give me the empty box back. I'll give you every penny back. To date, not a single person has asked for their money back. Now, you might ask how many people I can share with. Well, quite a few, but I actually have a team of over 8,000 people that's done the same thing. And the company literally has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands with satisfied customers all over the globe. So let me give you a real simple explanation of what Ganoderma does. So here we have a picture of a swimming pool. On the left, it's not very well cared for. So it gets some things, growing in it that we don't want. It gets a color that's not appealing, probably even has a smell that's not real favorable. But when we put the good stuff in and pull the bad stuff out, we can take that swimming pool, and convert it to something like that. Well, this is actually biologically accurate in terms of what Ganoderma does in our body. It is the top superfood on the planet. It's got all the fabulous 50, all the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, proteins, carbohydrates, fat, fiber, and water, and at a really good dose. It actually has per unit volume more vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, more iron than spinach, more omega-3 than tuna, more protein than beans, and it is a complete protein. And then there's now over 190 identified other molecules that make it so profoundly healthy. And so when people put it in their body, they literally are essentially cleaning their swimming pool every single day. So quick note, our body is mostly water. In fact, a healthy body should be about 2/3 water. And so every day you have a choice of either cleaning that water, nourishing that water, making it look really, really good, or if you neglect it, it's going to be like that. And that's probably not the health that you want. So when you look at their product line, as I mentioned, they started out with black coffee, and then they had latte, then they had mocha. They actually have the king of coffee, which is 100% USDA certified organic coffee. They have organic green tea, red tea. They have energy drinks. They have capsules if people want to take more product over a shorter period of time than they could get with coffee or tea. So as a doctor, I can tell you when I have sick patients, I may not tell them to take a dozen coffees or teas over the course of the day, but they can take a dozen capsules and really serve their body well. Best in class soap and toothpaste. I'll show you some pictures that'll knock your socks off. And then shakes that literally taste like liquid birthday cake. Quick idea of what we're putting in this product. Here's a picture of whole, natural, organic, naturally grown Ganoderma like Organo does. Since this market is now really, really big, I can tell you can find Ganoderma on the internet for a fraction of the price. And as I tell my patients, I've got a really nice Mercedes-Benz. Let's just, for round figures, say it's a $150,000 car. Well, if you were to see that car on the internet, or what you thought was it, for $10,000, you probably should be suspicious. Either it's not real, or it's stolen, or something's not quite right. Well, literally, when people are buying low-cost Ganoderma, they actually are getting stuff that is usually grown in bags. And one lesson I learned early in life is that everything that happens inside a person actually affects the outside. Everything that happens inside of a plant affects the outside. And so when you compare those two pictures, there really is no comparison. This one here is actually super healthy, delicious, shiny, wonderful. And the one grown on the bag actually cannot even reproduce as a plant. And by the way, one thing we know from biology is sick animals can't reproduce, sick plants cannot reproduce. So it makes sense to put the really good stuff in your body. One of my best mentors is a guy named John Maxwell. I've probably read at least 20 of his books, met him in person, took some of his conferences. He's an expert in leadership. And here's what John Maxwell he says, every company, every business, every enterprise rises and falls with leadership. So here you're looking at three men who all started out with humble beginnings. And I also started out with a humble beginning, born in a wonderful middle-class family in Wisconsin. And, my family taught me great value systems and a great work ethic. And we parlayed that into an incredibly successful life with the right foundation. Well, that's what all these guys did. They started with humble beginnings. They figured a way to serve the world, and literally they created a multi-billion-dollar international company that has survived all the challenges of business and has thrived with an expanding product line. So Mr. Bernie Chua in the middle is the guy that actually came up with the brilliant idea of putting Ganoderma in a coffee. He actually patented the process in a way that it can't be duplicated. And by the way, our coffee is magnificent. You can't even detect the herb within it. And that's a masterpiece of science. Mr. Shane Moran literally said, you know what? This makes sense. I'm going to take it all over the world. And he did. He's the one that guided us in so many countries. Mr. Holton Buggs is a master at creating easy business systems. There's a simple phrase that says complexity, making things complex, is the enemy of execution. And we know that this has to be simple. So I'll ask you, what could be easier than sharing a cup of coffee with a friend, a cup of tea with a friend, actually suggesting a better soap or toothpaste, maybe offering an energy drink? All the things that we offer are profoundly simple. Now, whenever I give a presentation, I like to let people know that we're sharing a product and we're sharing an opportunity. So up front, I want you to start thinking about how this fits in your world. So as I tell people, there's going to be a portion of people that are tuned into this that'll say, you know what, no, I don't think the product's for me, and no, I don't think the opportunity's for me. To you, I say, thank you for sharing your time with us. We certainly appreciate you for that. And I guarantee you, you know someone that would improve their life with a better choice and possibly could be looking for opportunity. So it may not be for you, but if you know someone, please send them to the person that referred you to this video conference. Now, some people will say yes to the product, no to the business. That was me for the first year. You know, I had 4 other businesses that were thriving. I didn't need another business. So I said, sure, the product's great. I'll start sharing it with my patient base. Didn't want to build a business. But then, you know what? I came to realize how powerful the business is. And in fact, all these beautiful people on the bottom are people that are on our team that have built massive businesses. But over there, especially, is my son, Jacob, and my beautiful wife, Kelly. And my son, Jacob, actually qualified for a company-subsidized Mercedes-Benz 6 months into the business at age 18. That certainly got my attention. So I did say yes to the business. And in fact, I wanted to build it big. And some of you will say yes to the business and you'll just want to get a supplemental income. And the great news is, whichever one you are, if you just want the product, or if you want a small opportunity, or if you want to build it big, we have a package for you. So I'm a numbers guy. And one of the things I want to tell you about is coffee, which is now the top commodity on planet Earth. Now, if you look at this, this is pretty crazy. 1.6 billion cups of coffee a day. Now, you may not be a math major, but you can check this out with Mr. Google. If we go back 1 billion years, there was no life on planet Earth, nothing. If you go back 1 billion days, there was no human life on planet Earth. If you go back 1 billion hours, well, that was the old Stone Age, about 114,000 years ago. If you go back 1 billion minutes, we're now talking about the Roman Empire. If you go back 1 billion seconds, that was 31.7 years ago. But 1 billion cups of coffee ago, that was about 16 hours ago. Now, since I'm in Central Standard Time, we're talking about since 2 o'clock this morning, there have been 1 billion cups of coffee consumed. And guess what? In the next 16 hours, there'll be 1 billion consumed. In the next 16, there will be 1 billion consumed. In the next 16, there will be 1 billion consumed. So on coffee alone, we've got a phenomenal business. But now we start adding tea and soap and toothpaste and energy drinks and detox drinks. And we've literally got something that someone can cleanse their body with, nourish their body with multiple times a day, every day. So if we look at this beautiful woman, on the left, she had a bit of a skin challenge. On the right, that was complete and total resolution just by switching her coffee. This gentleman here, absolutely amazing story. The picture on the left was taken with a fairly low resolution camera in Mexico. So sometimes people wonder, is this even the same guy? But if you look at the neckline, you're going to see that there still is a little loss of pigment in that picture. And this guy's absolutely amazing. And I can tell you now, in my years of the company, I've seen 3 people get pigment back. Pretty amazing, just like that. This beautiful woman actually had 10 years of skin challenges, 30 days of coffee and tea and soap, and her body is a lot more comfortable than it had been in a decade. When we start looking at weight management, weight loss, body composition, we have to understand that obesity or even excess weight is a major risk factor for every single chronic disease that we know. A lot of people think that their joints are more worn and their center of gravity is shifted and they may not have as much energy, and it's a lot harder carrying all that extra weight around, but understand there's a lot of things that aren't going right on the inside as well. Remember the picture of the Ganoderma. If you see something wrong on the outside, you know something's wrong on the inside. So these people are having often significant struggles within their organ systems. And it's a major risk factor for, as I mentioned, every single chronic disease. So when they take the weight off, not only do they look better, they absolutely feel better, and it's body, mind, and spirit. So we have our normal flavors are actually chocolate and vanilla, but they're so flexible, you can blend about anything you want into it to make the most incredible, nourishing, delicious shake you've ever seen. So here's a few people that have lost some weight. The before and afters are absolutely amazing. I like to tell people that on our own team, we have a gentleman that lost over 100 pounds. And I have to tell you, if you look at the picture before and after, you certainly wouldn't recognize him as the same guy in any way. Whole new level of health, vitality, outlook on life, really bright about his future. And you'll begin to realize that there's so much we can offer in terms of product, and yes, so much in terms of business. So there's a statistic that the majority of people in this beautiful country, one of the richest countries ever, if they had to come across and put their hands on $500 for an emergency, they'd have a really hard time doing that. Well, what I can tell you is with this incredible business, if you plug into our proven system, you can get to the point where you should be able to start earning that and maybe more. In fact, possibly much, much more. So the company actually has 7 ways to get paid. Now, I'm going to tell you, I have worked in corporate America before starting my own businesses. And, I got paid one way. And in fact, I was on a salary. So, maybe it was a planned 40-hour week, but usually it was 50 or 60. I didn't get anything extra for that. But this company is going to pay you 7 different ways. And every time you build your business, you essentially cash in on a pay raise. So level number 1, the way you get paid is actually via retail sales. Now, some of you may realize that you may not have a retail storefront. I have a clinic, so I have people walk in, and so it's easy to offer them a cup of coffee or tea. And then while they're drinking it, we just simply ask them, hey, do you like that? And most people say, yeah, that's really good. Our comment is, it's really good for you too. You should get a box. And just like that, we have plenty of people that are beginning to nourish themselves and continuing the process. But what if you don't have a retail storefront? Well, there's other ways that you can do that. We have people that do trade shows. We know people that will actually sell black coffee at $3 a cup, latte at $4, mocha at $5. And they'll sometimes sell out $400, $500, $600 or more dollars in a short period of time in a busy afternoon because people drink coffee or tea. What if you don't want to do trade shows? You call people up, you let them know, you know what? I've just invested in a healthy coffee, tea, shake business. I would love to earn your business. And here's what I propose. I'm going to offer you 1 box of our product. You drink it. At the end, if you're not 100% satisfied, this is what I recommend, right? It's you don't have to do it this way, but if you give them no risk, you'll certainly sell more product. I'll give you 100% money back guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with how it tastes and how it makes you feel, you give me the empty box back. I'll give you every penny back. In this incredible company, there are people that literally earn over $100,000 profit in a calendar year with retail sales. So certainly there's a lot of potential there. We'll find out later when we look at the numbers. Really the strategy is to get a lot of people doing a little. If you get to 1,000 people each with 10 customers, I think the money will more than impress you. So after we start getting some customers, we actually can start building a business. I'll show you different product offerings later, but when you sign people up into the business and they make a purchase, you actually get a bonus based on their starting level. And that can be as much as $130 based on where they start. But once we start building a team, then there's literally no limit to how big that team can grow. So I may have, I'll go back just because it's fun to do this, but Mr. Shane Moran started 10 years ago. He's the guy that took it all over the world, that guy right there. and he had a list of 156 names. Now, I got to tell you, I've got an iPhone right here, and 10 years ago I didn't have an iPhone, but I have an iPhone, and I have more than 156 names in there. But Mr. Moran contacted all 156 people, and he asked them this question. He said, what if it's true that we have a coffee or tea that tastes as good as what people are currently drinking? What if it's true that our coffee is far more convenient? In fact, all you have to do is just add hot water. What if it's true that our coffee and tea has nearly unmatched health benefits? And I will say unmatched in the coffee and tea market. And what if it's true that we are significantly less expensive? If that were true, and it is, would it be reasonable that 1 in 100 coffee drinkers would switch to our brand? Well, I've got to tell you, I don't know how many of those 156 people said yes, but it later blossomed to millions of people that said yes and have done billions in sales, and has literally set him up for wealth for an entire lifetime. So one of the questions I like to ask is, how long would it take you to find 2 people who feel overworked and underpaid and are looking for opportunity? Now, I've literally had a woman in my home, and she looked at me, she said, I've got my 2 right here, my sisters right here, right now. But most people agree that they could do it maybe in a month. Well, if it takes you a month to get 2, this is an open book test. Notice the first month you've added 2 people to your team. But if they can all do the same thing you did, add 2, by the second month, now you're at 4. The third month, you're at 8. Fourth month at 16. 12 months later, just in that 12th month, you've added over 4,000 people to your team. Now, this is where the numbers can become absolutely mind-boggling. But let me try to make it simple for you. If we just had 4,000 people on your team, by the way, they added 4,000 in that month in that example. And literally, each of those 4,000 people literally did 2 units of product a month, just 2 cups of coffee a day, or a coffee or tea, or maybe used a shake or something like that and a cup of coffee. Your team would do well over $100,000 a month in volume. Now, depending on how your team structured and depending on how many people use different types of products, your return will be different. But our average return in 6 years of this business is right at about 8% of our total team volume. So let's use that number. If we had $100,000 in volume in a month, 8% of that would be $8,000 a month. Now you multiply that over the course of 12 months, and now you have nearly $100,000 just from your team in a calendar year. If you have a few customers and make a few extra bucks a month, that way you can easily cross $100,000. And that may seem mind-boggling to some, but I showed you the picture of my son initially. He was actually able to accomplish that his 21st year of life. So he's literally been retired financially free since age 21. Now there's levels 4, 5, and 6, which are based on reorders, and there's a level called level 7, where literally when you get to a certain level in the company, you get paid on every sachet of coffee and tea or every shake and soap and toothpaste sold in the entire planet. And I've got to tell you, we've got lots of team members that have qualified for that. And it's so fun to watch the world get healthier as we help people build their dream lives. So as of now, the company has a pretty interesting bonus going on. One of the things they found out is that the average person that gets involved in a business really just wants to make an extra $500 a month. Well, if you decide to get busy and you literally introduce this business to 6 new business partners over the course of the month, and we'll show you how they can do over $5,000 in personal volume, you're going to get a $500 cash bonus on top of everything you've made. And by the way, if you get only $3,000 in volume, then you're going to get a $250 cash bonus. Now, this is the last date for the US promotion. I'll show you some product packs in a few moments, but everybody literally starts with a business kit. Now, this business kit is $49.95. It gives you a professional website and it gives you a merchant account. Now, this is good for 1 year, and the cost, like I said, is normally $49.95. On this new promotion, this is actually thrown in for free today, last day of the month. And in Canada, by the way, you get actually free product with signups. But at any rate, if you've ever designed a website, I can tell you probably know it takes time, money, and effort. If you've ever had a merchant account, the average amount that I know that business people pay for a merchant account, just no bells and whistles, is actually about $30 a month. Now, the company takes care of all of that within your starter kit. You get all that for a year. So I like to say that just that in and of itself is a multi-$1,000 value. Now, what are the 3 levels of getting started? Well, we like to call them good, better, or best. So with all the packs that are for sale, whatever you pay, you get that much in wholesale volume. So if you buy a bronze pack, you get about $250 worth of wholesale product. If you turn around and sell all of that, you have a good chance of doubling your money or at least making some significant profit. A silver pack is about $450. A gold pack is $1,250. These are all US prices. Now, you might ask the question, if I could join a business for $250, why in the world would I join a business for $1,250? Well, here's where the company is really, really smart. If you make a bigger investment in the gold pack, they literally will pay you more than twice as much as you build your team. And they will actually pay you more ways. If you buy a silver pack, you get about a time and a half the return on investment as the bronze pack. And again, you do get paid more ways. It's all an absolute one-time purchase. So this will get you into the business, getting you the inventory that you need to get started. And one of the other promotions that's going on, which is absolutely beyond amazing, every year the company offers an absolute incredible vacation. This year is actually a 7-day cruise on the most fantastic cruise ship on planet Earth. I've got to tell you that we are qualified for that, taking, I think, probably about 40 friends on that. You actually have the potential to do that over the next few months, but certainly as the years progress, you can do it. And once you go on a vacation like this, I guarantee you, you'll want more. Another part of the compensation plan that I didn't mention is actually the lifestyle bonus. They call it the 8th way of getting paid. Once you build certain levels within the company, then they will reward you with different levels of cash bonuses every single month. Up until a year ago, it was actually called the Mercedes bonus. And I think I showed you a picture, and I kind of blew up our corner of our incredible team with all these people that have organo-subsidized Mercedes-Benzes, absolutely proven that this business works like a champ and has some of the best bonuses, products, and opportunity that we'll ever find. So when I started, I mentioned that you will fall into one of 4 categories. Some people will say no to the product and no to the business. If that's you, again, thank you for listening. You know someone that this can help. Please refer them to the person that sent you to this teleconference, video conference. Now, if you are one person that says yes to the product or yes to the business, we want you to get back to the person that referred you and tell them, yes, I'm a number 2. I want to start purchasing the products for my own consumption. Or I'm a number 3. I want to purchase the products for my own consumption, and I want to build a business. And by the way, if you're in the US, the website is free. Just today, though, you've got to close it out today. And if you want to start a small business, well, you probably are okay to start with a bronze pack, $250 worth of product, or silver pack, $450 worth of product. But if you're like me and you see the opportunity and you want to build it big, then I suggest you go with the gold pack. You will maximize your return on investment. And the beautiful thing about it is you will help so many people with their health. And as you start building the business, you'll help them with their wealth. So absolutely get back to the person that referred you to this One final comment is it does take some training to develop the skill set to build this business. Organo Expo is in Las Vegas, September 1 and September 2. You will be trained from people that have built multi-million-dollar businesses from all over the world. The company will put the best in every single category on stage to share with you exactly how people went from humble beginnings, like my son, Jacob Rakowski, to a six-figure income and retirement at age 22. Or if you're like my wife, Kelly, and I, we now actually earn more money in our sleep, believe it or not, from coffee sales all over the world than we earn in our waking efforts in really successful businesses. So as they like to say, you know what? It's easy, it's simple, it's organo. Get back with the person that referred you to this video and let them know, here's where I want to start: bronze, silver, or gold.